This startling reality of the GOP's One Big Beautiful Bill. There's a groundbreaking twist that few are fully aware of regarding the Republican Party's significant domestic policy initiative, the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill Act. As it awaits a signature from former President Donald Trump, there's still a lot about this far-right legislation that remains under the radar for many. As highlighted by Annie Lowrey in her article for The Atlantic, should the One Big Beautiful Bill Act be approved, it could turn out to be an immensely influential legislation in our recent history. Its financial scope would surpass that of Trump's COVID relief package, Biden's COVID relief bill, Trump's first-term tax reduction, George W. Bush's tax cut, and even Barack Obama's stimulus efforts. This measure would overshadow the Affordable Care Act in terms of its budgetary consequences. Yet, strikingly, 2/3 of Americans admit they have little to no information about it. But here's where it gets controversial. Polls conducted across the nation have revealed widespread disapproval of the GOP's contentious reconciliation package, reinforcing the public's negative stance on tax perks for the affluent and cuts to Medicaid. And this is the part most people miss. It's noteworthy that the new legislation gains traction only among those less informed about its particulars. As we gear up to understand the full implications of potentially the most regressive legislation in decades, it's essential to know that most voters have a general opposition to this GOP initiative. However, the intricate details of the bill remain elusive to many. Even I have been closely following this legislative journey for months and still find the finer points challenging to digest. Polls might tell part of the story, but not everything. With the GOP's policy initiative heading towards law, Democrats are planning to spotlight these highly contentious aspects ahead of the critical 2026 midterms. What concerns me is whether the American public will be able to recognize the reality. A recurring challenge over the years is that following events like the 9/11 attacks, Congress introduced measures intended to bolster the economy, and House Republicans advocated for their prioritized tax cuts for corporate interests. The Wall Street Journal even acknowledged that the plan essentially bolstered the profits of corporations. Democrats, eager to counter this, opted to utilize focus groups to refine their communication strategies, only to discover that voters were skeptical about the notion of Republicans leveraging a crisis to push for corporate tax breaks. This sentiment of disbelief echoed again over a decade later when a super PAC promoting Barack Obama's re-election informed participants about Paul Ryan's turbine a budget plan met with outright disbelief despite its factual basis. Controversial thought. Could our skepticism actually make the truth about these bills harder to accept? It's understandable. The public encounters all types of extravagant claims, and for those not keeping up with the day-to-day developments, it can be difficult to discern what's real and what's hyperbole. But with the One Big Beautiful Bill, there's no room for exaggeration. It's a consciously crafted redistribution of wealth, favoring the wealthy and potentially transforming our healthcare, finances, basic services, and regulations. America might not have realized they were voting for these outcomes, yet they are about to experience the consequences, whether they agree or not. Lowry concludes that this big, beautiful bill primarily serves as a financial boon for the affluent, while imposing austerity on the less fortunate, threatening healthcare rights and exacerbating cost of living challenges. Now it's time for the American public to grapple with this sobering reality. What do you think? Are the true consequences being hidden in plain sight? Your voice and thoughts are what drive these conversations forward. Let us know in the comments.